Hey guys, welcome back to Horticulture Geek. I'm Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today here on the channel. And what you just saw was day one of onion planting. And so I've been working on this bed right behind me. This is where I plant my onions, and that bed, because I didn't plant a subsequent crop in it after the onions last season, I had a few things there, but nothing major. It kind of got pretty weedy, and I got behind on pulling my weeds, and I had some strawberries that got loose and was starting to run. So what you saw me doing was going through and doing an initial clean out of this bed for my onion harvest. And so what I was doing is I was turning the soil over and then just reaching my hands in there and pulling out all the roots, all the weeds, all the leaves, all the debris, and getting this bed ready to go. Now this is just stage one. So this is my first step. The second step is I'm gonna let this set here for a couple of days. Reason being is I've just turned and flipped and aerated the soil. We're having a pretty warm day here for January. So I anticipate there being some weed seeds left in this soil that are gonna try to generate and sprout. So I'm gonna let this set here for a few days, and then I'm going to come through and I'm gonna do this process again so that I can get all of the weed roots and weeds and fresh seedlings and all that stuff out of my soil to prepare for my onion harvest. And then once that's done, and I'll film this, we're gonna start amending this bed and getting it ready for our onion harvest. Now that's gonna happen in just a few seconds for you, but for me, that's gonna take a few days. So hang tight, because here we go. All right, guys, so as you can tell, it is a new day here, and it is a gift of a day. It is absolutely beautiful. There's a nice breeze, it's sunny. As you can probably tell, the sun's right in my face, but it's got good conditions to finish our project. So again, this has just been a few seconds for you, but it has been a couple days for me. We did have a good rain come through, which was really good because it settled back down all this soil that I had dug up and disturbed the other day. And I did go ahead off camera and put a pre-emergent weed control onto this ground, so that rain was able to get that into the soil as well, which is not going to be a problem for me since I'm starting my onion crop with onion sets that are already pre-grown. They don't need to emerge from seed, so that pre-emergent weed control is not going to help or hurt me in this scenario. So now I'm at the stage where I'm going to put my gloves back on, and I'm just going to get in here and I'm going to root around in this dirt a little more, fluff it back up, see if I can find any weeds. As you can see, I've got some bags there. Those bags are compost cow manure. I've got biotone over there. I've got fertilizer over there, and I've got a wheelbarrow there. If you were here last week for my video where we planted up the big pot with bulbs over there, you'll know I cleaned that pot out and I saved that old dirty soil, not dirty because soil is dirty, but I saved the old used soil from that pot, and it was in that wheelbarrow, and it actually turned out to be pretty decent soil, and I've thrown some coffee grounds and some other stuff in it, and so I'm going to use that to actually help me bulk up this bed. So I'm going to leave the camera here, give you kind of a wide shot of the area. I'm going to work through that soil, get all my amendments in, and then we'll move the camera over there closer to time and walk through the onions and actually planting them. So here we go. All right, so I was able to just get through there. I made, like I said, another pass through there, gloved up, and I was able to actually find some roots of some weeds and some wild strawberries that were trying to take root and regrow. So by working my hands through that soil, I was able to find those. Go ahead and pick those out. You probably noticed me throwing stuff out of the bed. I was just picking stuff out and just throwing it on the ground here. I'll come through and sweep it up off the concrete later. But that ground has now been worked back up, fluffed back up. I went through, like I said, got more weeds out of it. So now I'm ready for stage 2, which is the beginning of amendments. So I am going to be using my Espoma Biotone starter. Now remember, if you've been with me for a while, I love this stuff. So Biotone starter fertilizer is what is going to give the plants the nutrients they need to develop their root systems, and it also puts the mycorrhiza in the soil that plants need to develop healthy, strong root systems. So I love this. And then because onions are heavy feeders, I'm also going to be putting in, again, I'm not necessarily recommending this particular product on this. To me, standard fertilizers are a dime a dozen. I get whatever's on sale, but I do want to add some good standard fertilizer in there. And this contains kelp, earthworm castings, bone meals, and some other things that are good. So this is just a good blended product. Not necessarily recommending that brand. This brand, the Espoma, I definitely recommend. Tried and true, wonderful. But a good all-purpose fertilizer, I'm going to add that. Onions are heavy feeders, so I want to give them what they need to get their roots going, and as soon as their roots established, I want to give them what they need to get the onions growing so they can bulb out. And that's exactly why I'm putting more compost and manure in this bed as well. So here we go, I'm going to get this put out. All right, I'm just gonna work those amendments in to the soil layer, and then I'm gonna load it up with the dirt from the wheelbarrow and then the compost and manure from the bags and get all that spread out. Here we go. Okay, so I've moved the camera so that I can kind of stand in the shade and talk to you guys for just a second. But you saw me get the bed done. I'm gonna take the camera over there in a minute and do a close-up so you can see exactly how the soil looks right now before I start planting in it. But I wanted to walk you through the onions that I have, and also these gloves, because I know some people have asked before, what's up with the gloves? Well, I like to use these gloves here, and I have a ton of standard gardening gloves. You can see this has been well loved. And if I'm doing a heavy duty project where I feel like my hands need to be protected, I will use regular garden gloves. But if I'm going to be doing a project like this, where I want to use my hands to work through that soil, to hunt for weeds, stray roots of plants, trash, debris, dirt clots that you want to break up, I prefer these. They're like medical gloves, but these are actually mechanics gloves. And these are a medium duty. They come in regular, medium duty, and heavy duty. And these allow you to keep your hands clean, especially if you're going to be rooting in something like manure and fresh amendments that could make your skin and your hands have a not pleasant odor. So these are going to protect my hands, but still give me all the feeling and dexterity as if I was barehanded, right? So that's why I use these, and you will see me time to time use these in videos. That's why I do it. I will try to link these down below. I will also link the Biotone Starter Fertilizer and another generic fertilizer and all those things under this video. So if you are watching this video and you're thinking, I want to plant onions, I want to do this, I will try to link as much of these products as I can for you at this video so that you can click on those to go find the products and have them shipped directly to your home. And if you do use my links to buy those things, it gives me a small kickback, which is handy to help me continue projects here in the garden so that I can continue making videos. So look for product links attached to this video. Now, onions. So from Dixondale Farms is where I order my onions from, and they come in a box just like this. Let me put this up where you can see it. So here are my onion sets, and this is a short day sampler. So this contains 3 different varieties, a white, a yellow, and a red. And if you look in there, you can see the yellowy ones, the reddy ones, the white ones, all kind of mixed in there. And it comes with a onion planting guide. So we can get into this. And this is a good thing if you've never grown onions before and you're the type of person or gardener who likes to read directions. This is a really great guide that they send to you, and it will walk you through step-by-step preparation, planting, care and maintenance, weeding, fertilizing, all of that, which is exactly what I'm showing you here in today's video. For onions and potatoes, root crops in particular, the bed preparation is key. Because again, we've talked about this before, when you're dealing with a bulbing or a root crop plant, potatoes, onions, leeks, turnips, beets, char, I mean, whatever the case may be, those plants are going to develop the produce you're looking for either as a tuber under the ground or as a bulb at the base of the plant. If you do not prepare your soil and put those seedlings or plants into hard, compact ground, they will not be able to form the produce you're looking for. So bed preparation is key to success with these types of crops. But if you are this video is handy, but if you like to read it, great guide, okay? So now all that's left to do, oh, and if you want to know the specific varieties of these onions, again, it's Dixondale Farms. It's their short day sampler. So it's a Creole Red, a Texas Sweet, and a 10T something. I forget the exact varieties. They have so much good information on their website. Check that out. And I will link the Dixondale website below this video as well. So planting a bulb is super simple. Let's just grab one and I'll show you. Just like all bulbs, and this is so easy to see, okay? You've got a root end and a growth end. So we're gonna plant it just like that, okay? Now, with onions, we don't plant deep. I've done my groundwork, I've got my site prepared. I know I've got good, loose, fluffy soil, but I still don't want to impede. If you see that, you can already see this is already starting to bulb out, right? I don't want to impede the growth of this onion from doing its job. So I'm only gonna plant this bulb about right in there, maybe about halfway up. That's all it needs. These roots will take root and they will hold this onion in place. The top will grow and then my onion will bulb, okay? If you have planted your onions already, or if you find one that you've planted by mistake, too deep, right? Okay, it's not a problem. You just want to watch it, and when the onion starts to bulb out, if you notice it struggling, just pull some dirt away from that and let it bulb out at that point, okay? So you can do that, but again, I'm just going to plant mine probably right around in this depth right here. So just imagine my finger is soil line. I'm gonna plant mine right around in there. That way it's got plenty of room to keep bulbing out. All right, so now there's nothing left, but let's take the camera over there. I'll give you a close up of what the area looks like. I'll plant a couple close up, and then I'm just gonna put it on fast zoom and get these all planted. Here we go. All right, I'm trying to not let my shadow get in the way so that you guys can see this. But this is what I'm looking like right now. So just rich, fertilized, loose, fluffy garden soil, perfectly ready for my onions to go in the ground. All right, so I'm ready to go. Got my gloves on, got my onions out of the box, and I'm gonna lay these out in rows. So we're just gonna do rows through the flower bed, okay? Here's what you need to keep in mind. I've already walked you through planting depth. Now let's talk about plant spacing. When I plant these onions in the ground, I've still got to make sure that they have enough room from their neighbor to grow. So I'm gonna go 2 to 3 inches apart so that as each onion bulbs out and grows, it won't compete for space with its neighbor. If I planted them side by side, they would bump into each other and it would stop or prohibit their growth. So I've got to space them out. And it's pretty simple. Now that I've done the bed preparation, light, fluffy soil, all I'm gonna do is pick my starting spot and get my onion right in the ground there. Then I'm gonna come over, get this onion right in the ground. Come over, get those roots down in there, right in the ground. So that's all there is to that process. So now I'm just gonna set the camera up and you can watch me get this bed planted. Here we go. All right, so here is the bed. All the onions are planted. And now some of you have probably noticed already, I did not plant anything on this half of the bed. And that's because I just did one grouping of onions this year. Last year I did two, and I filled up the whole bed. This year I'm just doing one order of onions. So that short day sampler was able to fill up this whole section, perfectly spaced out. And then I have this whole half of the bed still able to go into production this summer. So I will be planting other crops right through here that won't compete with my onions. And I've watered everything in, so the soil's all settled around. And now we've just got to wait for our onions to grow. All right, guys, back in the shade to wrap up today's video. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me walk you through how to prepare and to plant your onions. I hope that you're gonna try this year. If you can still get your hands on some onions, please do it. They are so easy to grow. Literally, the worst part of the whole process is all the time and labor it takes to prepare the bed. But once you've done that, it didn't even take me, gosh, 10 minutes to plant all the onions. So it's really something that any gardener can do if you have the space to do it. Onions can even be grown in containers. So if you have, if you live in an apartment complex or a townhome or something, and you don't have an actual plot of ground you can plant into, and you want to plant into pots or containers, you can absolutely plant onions and potatoes and these things in containers on your patio, as long as you have enough sunlight to support their growth. So give onions a try. I promise you, you will not be disappointed if you do. If you've got any questions or comments from today's video, leave those down below. I'll do my best to answer them for you. And don't forget, if you are looking to plant onions and you want to get a hold of some of the products I use, look at the bottom of this video. If they are available for me to tag, I will tag them. So if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. I will do my best to answer them for you. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Now, if you have not hit that subscription bell, go ahead and do that, because next week's video, we're going to be tackling the rose bush. So next week's video will be how to prune and secure a rose bush and get it ready for the growing season. That big blob back there, that is one of my climbing roses that we're going to tackle. So if you want to hear about how to care for and prune and train roses, tune in next week for that video. If you've enjoyed today, like I said, give me that thumbs up. But until next time, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.